us, we have influence. We are, even that's what we are running. So that was what we call the operational leadership as being efficient. They are efficient. Efficiency means, what do we do today? So while the strategic leaders are saying, where do we go from here? So that's the difference between strategic leader, which is the CEO or proprietor, and operational leader, which is the principal or the manager. So that is a bit of what I can add to it. Now, like I was saying, leadership is not position or title. Leadership is all about influence. Influencing people towards a vision, towards a tangible vision. Leadership is not all about you in a position. Okay, you are the head. You are the, like I said something earlier. Even the gate man can influence something. It's not just about I am the leader. I am the one in position. Now let's even remove the proprietor, the principal from this space now. Everybody has influence. Everybody has leadership potential in them, but not everybody has actually maximized the potentials. Because everybody can influence somebody. A mother can influence the children. The father can influence his home, isn't it? You know, the older brother can influence the younger ones. You know, so everybody, no matter how it is, you have influence. Influence means you can affect somebody, you can inspire somebody, you can motivate somebody. You can, okay, somebody that is smoking has another friend that is smoking, and has another friend, and he said, you can try it now, taste it, just put it in your mouth. What's he doing to that person? He's influencing him negatively. Now let me ask you, the terrorists that are killing people today, what are they promising them? Somebody influenced them. Somebody told them something. Probably they're going to get 75 things in heaven. And they are ready to lay down their lives for these lives. I want more of you that is not about terrible things. You know, so leadership, ethical leadership, based on leadership. So everybody has the capacity to influence somebody. So, but leadership potentials don't automatically translate into leadership effectiveness. It requires cultivation. It requires, that's why you said something earlier, sir, that can it be learned? There are 4 levels of education. There's a foundational, there's a functional, there's a professional, and there is transformational. The foundational are primary and secondary school. The functionals are the things you go and learn, vocations, artisanship you go and learn. And the professional, the institution, polytechnic, and lots of that. The transformational is what we are doing here. Since we are teaching here, they might not teach you in university. They might not teach you in, in polytechnic. So there are things you will learn after you have left school to go and seek for on your own. So leadership has to be learned. Not that it has to be learned. It doesn't come on us like lecturing. So these are things we need to learn. So like I said, it has to be cultivated. You have to discipline yourself. You have to develop yourself. Now let me move to entrepreneurship now. I realize it. What's entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is ability to see a vision, create value, and create structure around it. You are able to see vision, and you now create value in line of that vision, and you begin to build structure around it. That's what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is not just about selling, buying, and selling, and that's why a lot of people miss it. They say we are trader. It's not just, see, there's a man called Sam Walton. Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, that has about tens of thousands of networks of shopping malls all over the world, making they are one of the richest organizations in the world. The man started by selling provision in the shop. He started by selling provision and he scaled it into a superstore. And today it's all over the world. So it's about a vision. So entrepreneurship, entrepreneurship leadership, I would say entrepreneurship is a leadership architect that positively influence stakeholders, like the customers, like the investors, the board of directors, the employees, and lots of that. I'm going somewhere now. You're going to get what I'm saying. Is that now when we say entrepreneurship as well, entrepreneurship are an architect of civilization as well. The civilization we enjoy today is orchestrated by entrepreneurs because they build systems, they create value. They are drivers of social transformation. Now, you see, some years ago, the man called Steve Jobs called his tech team and said, how do we move from button phones to smartphones, touchpad phones? You know, so, and they were working on it and they got that technology. Today, all of us are going about with smartphones. If anyone who has died about 10, 15 years ago, if they woke up now, would they be able to catch up with what we're enjoying now? Civilization. What about the fintech banks? The fintech banks are orchestrated the online banks we're enjoying today. About 5, 7 years ago or 10 years ago before COVID, we'll always queue before the bank before we collect our money, or queue around ATM. But today, you sit in the comfort of your home, you transfer money. These are the civilization we're talking about. These are things are orchestrated by entrepreneurs. They are architects of civilization. So entrepreneurs also, like I said, we're talking about how ethical leadership in entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs, they are drivers of social transformation. You see, they build system, they build organization, they create opportunities for individuals, for communities to participate in economic and social values. Somebody built a school in this community now, employed people in the place. The people are employed in that place, they are receiving salary. They are economically empowered. Though they see abusing that salary is small, this one is small. But the most important thing is that he created something that someone is going to benefit from. That's what's called social transformation. So you are not just going to be a business person. That's what we're going today. Don't just go be a business person that's selling and buying. Your destiny is bigger than just selling and buying. You have to move from the just a trader to become actual entrepreneurs. And that's why I said earlier, what's entrepreneurship? Entrepreneurship is about you seeing vision. I have one shop. I'm going to scale into about 10,000 shops in the next. Sam Walton from 1960 to 1970 is scaled from one shop to about 10,000 stores. It's scaled. It's scaled. 10,000 stores by raising investors, by raising partners, and lots of that. And today we are talking about when Sam Walton, when he was alive, he was the richest man in the world. When he died, his wife, his children became the second richest in the world after Bill Gates, the third richest in the world after Bill Gates by selling provisions. The same provision Aboki is selling at that place. You see, you're welcome, man of God. The difference is the vision. So entrepreneurs are not just sellers. They're not just buying and selling. It's like I said, don't forget the definition. They are people who can see vision, create value, and build structure around it. See, the same one school that somebody will build one school. I say, yes, I have built, I'm making money. One person will look at that one school and say, I plan in the next 20 years, I'm going to have about 50 schools. I plan, then how do you do it? They need to look at how do we build structure, how do we connect, collaborate, partner, raise investors, that we can build this. You see, item 7 was selling, doing rice and party jollof and lots of that in those days. And he saw vision from this going to cook rice and rice jollof rice for people in the party. He saw the vision. Look at somebody that was selling jollof rice now became somebody that's hosting a big, big building like that, selling and doing some big things they are doing today, partnering with owners and people logistics. So it's about the vision. So now you can write this down. Leadership. I'm talking about ethical leadership, in business. Ethical leadership in business. So we can say leadership is a metaphor for a compass. They are navigators. They navigate the path when the roads are unclear. They navigate the path when the roads are unclear. And we can also say, sorry, I'm going to be a little bit very fast. So I'm going to also say that in business, when you understand the part of leadership in business, you know that your ability to influence the system, influence people, by starting from yourself. You say you want to influence people to a vision you have. Start by influencing yourself. The Bible talks about David. It said David encouraged himself. So how do you encourage yourself towards fulfilling and achieving that vision? Then by so much of that motivation and influence you have over your own character disposition, you are able to influence others to motivating them towards that great vision. Leadership is not just about what you say, it's about what you do. It's not just as a business person, it's not just about you telling your workers or saying, this and that. It's about what you do. And how do we demonstrate leadership at work? When a leader shows optimism in times of crisis, When a leader shows humility in terms of success, when a leader shows so much of integrity when under pressure, they're not looking at, okay, how do we bribe them out? How do we cut corners? Whatever you are doing, the workers are looking at you. That's why you see corruption can never be curbed in this nation, because the corruption starts from the top. Say, okay, they get a project of about 10 billion. The minister in charge of the project has removed 1 billion. And then over to probably the DG. And the DG will say, okay, minister has removed his own. No. Let's take our own court. Let's take our own court. See, that's what it is. It's not about what we say. It's about what we do. So, as a business person, we have to really understand the part of leadership. So, let's really go further. Then, how do we move from leadership potential into leadership effectiveness? As a business person, I'm connecting the two together so that we can understand that as a business person, we have to understand the core part of leadership if you're going to be functioning effectively. So we have to, by learning, personal learning, like you said, it can be learned. We have to learn leadership. It's something that's going to drop on us like a cherry. I told you about 4 levels of education. I've talked about foundational, functional, professional, and transformational. Through transformational, if anyone thought because you have left university, education ends there. Education, like somebody will say, education preparation is lifelong school. You don't graduate from it. So you keep learning, you keep schooling yourself, you keep upgrading yourself, to that. So, like by going through learning, developing yourself, having a mentor, through coaches, and lots of that. And okay, let's go to the call now. There are 4 pillars of ethical leadership. There are 4 pillars of it. We have the character. You must have heard this many times. So there are 4 pillars of it. We have the character, we have the charisma, we have the competence. Okay, we have the competence, we have the charisma, and we have the commitment. See, as a business person, as an entrepreneur, if you understand these 4 things, it becomes a pinnacle upon which you build your destiny of your business, and that you begin to navigate your path towards actualization of your expectation. So the character talks about who you are. Think about it yourself. Somebody did something wrong to you, your friend you trusted so much, did something, you say, I don't know this is who you are. So character is a definition of our personality. It's a definition of who we are. And it can be worked on. We are not born with character. We are only born with temperament. So it's something that we can build over time. It is built over time by the virtue of the school you attend, by the virtue of the churches you attend, by the virtue of the friends you move with, by the virtue of things you are exposed to. So character is the first thing. And I'm coming back to it because we're talking about ethical values. So competence. Competence talking about what can you do as a leader, as a business owner, or the business leader, or whatever any echelon of life or cadence of life where you are, as a manager, as a worker. I told you, I first established one point. Everybody is a leader. We all have leadership potential, but not everybody functions or operate at the full efficacy of their leadership effectiveness, because we have not been taught, because we have not learned to really work and discipline ourselves to bring it to it. As a matter of fact, I said something last week. I said, every time you compromise, every time you feel that this thing, you fail to build the leadership potential in you, you are defeating purpose. You are defeating destiny, because God has a greater place He's taking you to. Imagine Joseph has slept with his boss's wife. He has corrupted, he has compromised himself. He will have failed in destiny. So when we don't learn these things, it's one of the things that characterizes the reason why a lot of people fail in life. That's why we go to church. We pray so much to attack the devil that we pray to understand these things. A lot of time, if the devil moves away from the road of a lot of people, they will still not prosper. Because it's not just about the devil. There are many people who are poor in America, where here they don't have all of these spiritual problems. A lot of these things has to be understood. As a business owner, you must understand competence. Can you even do the job? Can you even do what is committed to you? Can you, your so-called of your job description allotted to you in your working place? Are you even doing your best in it? Then what you are even set out that that's your call. Can you even do it? Number 3, charisma. Charisma is how we connect with people. He said that guy is charismatic. That guy has a lot of charisma. That means he can motivate, he can influence, he can move people. A lot of people are so charismatic, but they lack character. I was talking to somebody 2 days ago. I said, you know what? You can move. This is a person who can mobilize a lot of people. But character is so terrible. I said, you fail so much in character, but you have so much of charisma. How do you balance this so that your destiny, you don't shortchange yourself in destiny? So a lot of business owners have killed their business. They can mobilize customers, but when the customers come, do they have enough character to sustain them? Do they even have enough competence to actually do the job? You know, charisma is how you connect to people. Commitment that's what keeps you going. That's a resilience in times when things are bad. That's what keeps you going. So as a business and ethical leader, these are the 4 pillars upon which you build your business. You build your life. Please, give me next slide. So these are the core that you build your life. Character, competence, charisma, and as well as commitment. Many business owners are very good, but they are very lazy. They are not committed. A single challenge, they move off. Hey, a single failure, they leave off. A single challenge on their business, probably there's a trouble. They say, I'm not interested. I'm out. It is so easy for them to quit, and quitters don't win. So, commitment.